What's going on, everyone? Happy Sunday. Happy Sunday. Welcome to our after show for HBO, or should I say Max, The Idol. We're talking episode 2, ladies and gentlemen. And this we're gonna get into it in tonight's discussion, y'all. But I want to thank you all for tuning in. Let me know in the chat if you guys can hear me okay. Put a 1 in the chat if you can hear me okay, as well as consider hitting the likes, man. Hit the like button. I would appreciate it. Hit the share button. If you know someone that's watching this show and wants to have people to talk to about this show, man, I'm gonna tell y'all something right now. I just got done watching an episode like 5 minutes ago, so that's a little. I was a bit behind tonight. Man, let me just put this out there before we really break it down, man. The last 10 minutes of tonight's episode, maybe the last 15 or so, has to be some of the worst written dialogue I've heard. Movie, TV, you name it. That stuff that we'll talk about tonight with Tedros and Jocelyn in the bedroom with the whole foreplay. Who wrote that? Who? I want to know for everyone at home watching. You know, we're all adults here. At least I hope so. Put the kids to bed. This is a mature show. The stuff Tedros was saying to Jocelyn tonight's episode, I just need to know, was that sexy? Was that sexy to y'all? And I'm talking for everyone out there, men, women, everyone in between. Was that sexual at all? The scene, the last 10 minutes of the sexual tension and the sexiness and everything going on, I'm like, this is as dry as the Sahara Desert. This was some of the worst written dialogue. And my goodness, man, I was just floored by how terrible the last 10 minutes of this episode was. But we'll get into my thoughts here in a little bit. But man, oh my goodness, that was some, what did he say? You gonna make me act a fool, girl. Oh man, it was some stuff going on tonight, man. Wow. But let me say what's up to everyone in the chat, man. We'll get to that song Stress. It's my family going on. We got some Manson vibes, very much so. What's going on, Zia? What's Zia talking about? Tedros, Alea is caught on this and ruined the friendship, unfortunately. Yeah, this show is as we'll get into, it's going off the rails pretty quickly. What's up, Mayan? What's going on? Suge Knight. I don't know if I get the Suge Knight vibes, because at least Suge Knight was intimidating. I'm not intimidated at all by Tedros with his his whole look and get up and all that. You're all right, appreciate it. Glad you guys can hear me okay. Man, what's going on, L? It's been a minute, L. Let me know how you been, and if you ever want to join, L, the chat's always, the stream's always open for amazing people like yourself. So let me know, L, if you would want to join one of these discussions, because man, ooh, my goodness, what's up to L though? What the bloody hell was that? I have no idea, L. I have no idea. I agree, man. What's going on, Karen? How we doing tonight? I don't think let me see, I don't think he's a scammer. He's actually good in finding talent, and Remix was better. You thought we'll get to that. I thought the remix was pretty atrocious, but we'll get to that. A virgin. I don't know who wrote that, L. Who thought that was sexy? Who thought that those lines that he was saying to Jocelyn was actually like sexually driven, make you want to rip your clothes off and have a baby type of dialogue? That was not it. Oh my goodness. We'll get into it in tonight's stream. It was not sexy. It was creepy. It was terrible. It was just terrible. Everyone with Tedros is fire. Nope, not sexy. Feels like two sets of writers depending on the scene. Yeah, like maybe ad-libbed and you gonna make me act a fool, girl. Oh man. But you like that scene? Well, listen, we'll get into it. We will get into it here in a bit. But man, I was not a fan of a lot of the episode, but in particular the last 10 minutes was just kind of pretty bad. Bad writing, bad dialogue, a lot of bad stuff going on there. But look, man, before we break it all down, listen, man, I appreciate you all joining me on this Sunday, June 11th. Goddamn, on this Sunday, talking about this show, episode 2. We had an episode 1 last week. Had a good time with my man 9, who's going to be joining us here in a bit, and we're back, man. And as I said last week, I would give this 3 episodes. I'm going to give the 3 episode test as I do with a lot of shows, right? When I'm kind of on the fence, I like to give shows 3 episodes because not every show hits right out the gate, and this ain't hitting right out the gate. So we got one more to see if I'm going to be sticking around. But listen, man, again, I appreciate y'all tuning in. Click on the video if you guys could do your boy a favor, hit the thumbs up. Consider sharing tonight's stream to anyone you know that is watching this show and wants to talk about it. Definitely share it. And then the reason I'm doing this is to interact with you all live. I love getting you all's perspective and different opinions on shows and movies that we cover here. So definitely let me know what you thought about the episode, good, bad, and everything in between. I would really appreciate it. And we're going to have a good time, y'all. We will have a good time. So before we start off the breakdown, like I said, I'm a man 9 from 9 Nerd Yard. He will be joining us here in a bit. So I'm going to go ahead and stall a little bit till he gets on here. And then we'll get into the episode. We'll break it down as you would imagine. We're talking spoilers, so we will be spoiling this episode. So if you haven't seen it, or personally, if you don't care if we spoil it, definitely stick around. But if you haven't seen it yet, definitely check out the episode and come back and watch the replay and join the conversation in the comment section. But in the meantime, man, let me know what y'all been doing this weekend. This weekend was pretty chill for me. If I'm being honest, I was kind of I hurt my back. I was kind of, my allergies was whooping my ass. So I was kind of chilling this weekend, but I did catch up on some movies in the meantime. I don't know if you guys were aware or have watched the Hulu Disney Plus original film. I believe it's exclusive. I don't think it went to theaters, but the Flamin' Hot film directed by Eva Longoria. Listen, man, I have I tweeted about it last night. I thought it was a pretty good movie, so that was something I watched. I'm preparing the Indiana Jones rewatch series that I'm doing. I watched Indiana Jones 1 and 2 the last few days. Very much have been enjoying that because I will be seeing the next one on Thursday. And yeah, man, besides just trying to recover, man, I don't know, something just hit me and kicked my ass this weekend, but luckily I have some fun entertainment to catch up on and enjoy in the meantime. But let me know what you guys been up to this weekend. Did you guys see Transformers Rise of the Beast? Did you go see Spider-Man Across Spider-Verse again? Did you go see Little Mermaid again? Did you watch any new shows over the weekend? Let me know while we prepare for my man to get into the stream here in a second. But in the meantime, let me see. What's up, Nisi? How we doing this evening? Hey, Elliot in chat. Not sure if I can hang with the show. It's listen, I'm not going to be the bearer of bad news. There were some moments that I thought was pretty well choreographed, and I thought that the tension in some moments regarding Jocelyn going through her kind of breakdown when she's trying to perfect the dance moves in the photo shoot, or not the photo shoot, but the music video that she was doing. I thought the chaos going on of her breaking down, and as we'll talk about, the stuff behind the scenes and her friend who she's in cahoots with, that kind of caught me. Well, I kind of alluded to it last week. If you guys watched last week, I said I have my eye on Diane. I was kind of suspicious about her, and that came to be true. So there were some moments, and I'm like, okay, I'm enjoying this, but it was far in between. But I got my guest in the back room. We're going to bring him in and take some other questions, and then we'll get into tonight's episode. But you know him, you love him. He's back to join me on this episode. It was called, what was it, Double Fantasy. It should have been called Acting a Fool because, man, this episode was acting a damn fool. But my man 9 is here to join me tonight, man. What is going on, 9? How you doing?
Elliot.
Man.
Hey, on the record,
Yeah.
you're my idol.
You're my Nah, man, this episode, my man, had me on one, man. But we'll get into it now. But how are you doing this evening, man? Besides this episode that we'll break down, how's your day going? How's the weekend been going, my friend?
I'm doing fantastic. I went to the beach this
nice.
couple days, and
Nice.
the water was nice and fine,
Yeah.
and just had a nice little time. And I also watched Across the Spider-Verse this week, and we can talk about that later, post show or
Yeah.
whatever.
Nice.
But yeah, incredible
Nice,
movie.
man. Nice.
Which y'all's watching that again.
Yeah, man, we'll get into it, man. But like I said, guys, 9 has been just awesome joining me the last few weeks with the last few episodes of Succession, joining me tonight to talk about this episode of say Euphoria. I wish this was Euphoria, but this episode of The Idol, and we're gonna break it all down. But a couple of comments before we get into it, 9. Let me see here. There's some people were talking about. Because when I got on, I was just talking about the last 10 minutes of this episode had to be some of the worst written dialogue I've heard in a very long time. Girl, you gonna make me act a fool, girl. Ooh.
I started zoning out a bit. Yeah, I was looking at my phone a little bit there.
I'm like, what is this nonsense going on here? But we will get into it, man. This episode, some people say, like Nathan, this episode was a lot better than last week.
I agree. I
It had its
agree,
moments, but
actually. I would
those
say
last two.
this episode was leagues ahead of last week. Still
Yeah.
has a good way to go, though.
We'll get into it. Man saying
Oh,
hi to
hey,
Nine.
man.
Voice saying which character is Nine? It's the backup dancer. Is that character who, as I kind of predicted last week, might be in cahoots with Mr. Tedros, and that seemed to be the case, as we'll talk about.
You did call that.
But Nine, man, let's just avoid the foreplay and just jump right into it, as as this episode was trying to allude to. So, hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome to tonight's discussion of the Idol episode 2, Double Fantasy. Got my man Nine from Niner Yard joining me to talk about this episode, which, Nine, I'm just going to say it, man. The last 10 minutes, bro. Woo, that dialogue was rough. That was rough. The foreplay, man. I just got a question for the people at home watching now. Was that sexy, y'all? Did y'all get hot and bothered from the weekend? Or Tedros, I should say. Oh, girl, you're gonna make me act a damn fool. Ooh, girl. Like, I'm like watching this, like,
I,
bro, who wrote this?
I'm hoping the weekend has better game than that. Or whatever he does in the bedroom
Whatever,
at least
yeah, man.
sounds better.
Yeah.
It was a bit strange. It was a bit strange. And again,
Strange is a great way to describe tonight's episode 9. There were some moments that I'm like, okay, we're getting some more backstory. We find out about, her close manager has been helping her the last year with finances. We learn about more of Diane really not being that close friend of hers and just kind of it's a part of a game. We get a little bit more backstory of Tedros and his kind of situation going on behind
she
the
has a
scenes.
debt.
So yeah. So there were some moments now, but it's just like last week, man. I'm still not completely involved in this story and these characters. And, more importantly, Jocelyn, man, I appreciate the performance, but I'm just not fully behind Jocelyn. I don't feel like the show has really put her, at least from my eyes, in the forefront to make me really sympathize with her. But how did you feel now? How did you feel about this episode before we kind of break it all down now?
Like I said, what Nathan was saying, that this episode was way better than the last, I think. Now I am going to say this. Let me tell you that when you're YouTubers like us or whatever, and then you're editing clips together and you're putting everything together, you kind of get like a sense and a flow of like how a show is going to go, right? Or
Yeah.
like how the narrative is going to be put together. With these two episodes, I feel like I can edit them down to one episode as an hour, right?
Yeah.
Like a lot of the juice was in this episode where they were just kind of introducing a lot of people last episode, almost for the complete episode. And I think with the lead of like, oh, Tedros, no one can really figure out where he's going, where he's
Yeah.
been.
Yeah. He's a
That would have been a
mystery
little bit better to end the episode, last week's episode, on that,
with
right?
that kind of,
With that
yeah.
little bit of intrigue,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And then, yeah, I feel like this was better. This was better narratively and kind of kept me a little bit more engaged. But, oof, yeah, it still needs a lot of work, you know.
Yeah, man. It's a lot that this episode tried. Again, like you mentioned, I thought that. Yeah, I think both episodes are not the best, but I guess I will agree with you in the sense of this episode at least had a little bit more going for it. Narratively speaking, there was a little bit more meat to the bone, especially when it comes to some of the the reveal of Tedros and him being Hawaiian and
Mhm.
missing the last 6 months and getting that
Yeah.
behind the scenes of him and his relationship with his other. I don't know what you want his other people under his record label, as we talked about last
Right.
week. Like, what does he do? Like, is he a singer? Is
Oh
he a
my
producer?
gosh.
Well, apparently he has his own
Label
label.
manager.
He's a label
Yeah.
manager, and we meet Chloe, and we get more of Isaac and him getting into the relationship with Leia. So there was more going on, but I still
Mhm.
don't think the show has a clear cut direction on what they're trying to present to the audience, right? As we'll get into, and let's just break it down, man. I mean, this opening scene here, Nine, as we kind of open with, Jocelyn kind of after last week's events with sharing a intimate moment and learning how to sing from Mr. Tedros. She's blowing up his phone, man, and like we said last week, he's teasing her. He's just dragging her along, making her want him, making her believe that the only way that she can kind of grow as an artist is having him by her side. And she's texting him, calling him, and no response. Nine. He's not responding to anything that he's messaging to her,
And
which again just plays into her head to be like, well, I need him. Where is he?
did you feel like he was already like playing a game though? Like he wasn't texting back just so he can kind of,
Oh yeah,
he
hundred
was
percent.
ghosting her a little bit just so he
Yeah,
can. He's
Lead.
he's a
Yep,
manipulator. Yeah,
a
he's a
hundred
big
percent,
manipulator. Uh,
100%.
I'll
This
be right
makes
back.
Yeah, take your time, man. No, this makes 100%, guys. Like he is definitely dragging her along, playing her, stringing her along. Again, not responding to the text call, and then we see a little bit later she calls him, and he doesn't respond. So it's very clear as day that he is definitely leading her to making her believe this kind of, as the episode alludes to, this fantasy of Tedros. He's almost like a mythical figure. Like, oh, I can't believe, I'm in this, conversation with Tedros. Tedros thinks I can sing. He's helping my music. He's getting me on to another, stratosphere as an artist. So he's definitely manipulating her and playing her, and it's as clear as day in this first scene here. But as we pivot over to the outside with her and her team, as we got Nine back, as we pivot outside, Nine, we have her and her crew outside, and she plays the song for them, and the song is trash, bro. It's just a bunch of humming and moaning and sexual noises as we cut to a scene that the title card shows that they were having sex when they made the song. I don't know, man. If that song was released today, it might be a hit because if I'm being
Well,
honest, a lot of music
well, it
now is
wasn't done
trash.
yet. It
Yeah,
wasn't done yet, so who knows? Maybe it's going to be a hit.
yeah,
Uh,
man.
let them cook. Let them
Let
cook
them
it
cook,
up.
man. Let them
Uh,
cook and burn it all down. What did you think about this scene here with the song being played and Nikki, who I guess I was confused last week. I thought that Nikki was kind of the co-manager, but no, as they kind of guess, maybe I missed it, the dialogue last week. But she's the executive of the
mhm,
record label. So
mhm,
hence why she has a little bit more. I'm like, damn, she's kind of talking to her like she's her mom or someone that has control over. Well, she does have control over. She is the
right.
record, she runs the record label. So what did you think about all that stuff going on now? And Nikki kind of putting her in her spot and going over again. We got a little bit more backstory of Jocelyn in the last 8 months. She's been kind of in the rehab process, as she says,
Yeah.
of paying for all this stuff. And she says, you need to be grateful. We're not about to put out that song. We have been working on this for weeks. You will do this with a smile on your face. What do you think about Nikki putting her foot down, man?
At first I was like, "Oh yeah, you're laying in it a little bit hard," but then when she was kind of giving her reasoning and was like, "Oh, we had Madison Square Garden set up for you. You said that you were going to be able to do it when we gave you the chance." Not, I was like, "Oh yeah, she's kind of right." You know, this might be the time that you need to be a bit more of a team player and just let your label do whatever. Uh, I can understand that if you're like an artist and you're like deeply comfortable with like wanting to put out your own music and something that you feel for, but you do have obligations. So I don't
Right.
know. I was kind of like, yeah, you kind of might just need to chill and let them handle all the other work while you relax a little bit, right?
I couldn't agree with you more, man. Like, yeah, we are led to feel bad for Jocelyn, which I still don't think the show has done a good job, at least for me, to really convey those. Like, I'm really not sympathizing with her. She does she's kind of ruining her own career as we're looking at it in live
Hmm.
action. But yeah, I'm with you now. Like I agree with Nikki, right? You do have
Hmm.
obligations. You have we've given you these 8 months to kind of clear your head after the loss of her mother, and now you want to throw away weeks and months of strategic planning of this single and that the album coming out, and for her to kind of out of left field with this random person Tedros to come up with this remix without the authority of the record label being involved. Yeah, no, Nikki's 100% in the right. She's not the best, as we see a little bit later. She goes about business in kind of an unprofessional way, but she's 100% right in this moment right here. Nine, like, yeah, you
Hmm.
need to be grateful and just go along. Again, I'm always in support of like artists, whether you're a singer or an actor, whatever the case may be. I'm always, I would rather side with them than like a record label manager or a
Right.
record label owner. But
Right.
in this case, I mean, what she's saying
Yeah.
kind of adds up.
Yeah, I mean, just like let your next hit be your greatest hit, and then let this
Right.
one just kind of be your, just go with the motions or whatever, and get yourself ready and secure, and have your mind right.
Hmm.
Uh, right now, you're literally getting played by a guy with a rat tail. Maybe you shouldn't be making like $100,000 business decisions,
Yeah.
right? So
I agree, man. I 100% agree. And to your point too, as far as just kind of the, it's that conversation that we hear with some of these bigger like movie directors when they do the one for me, one for you type of scenario, when you have,
mhm,
an auteur director doing a big blockbuster Marvel film, and then they come back the next film doing a small independent to kind of get their creative
right.
juices going. Kind of the same conversation with musical artists, right? You got that one pop song, and this is, when I was growing up, is, in my day, they had a whole artist, 50 Cent comes out with a new album. And before the album, there was 4 singles, right? And then the album drops, and then he has 4 more. It
Mhm.
was kind of like I think they said they even shaped Jocelyn to be kind of that 90s, 2000 pop star, Christina Aguilera meets Britney Spears, where there is a
Oh,
plan
Christina
behind
Aguilera
the
for
whole,
sure, yeah.
yeah, wrapping up of a single. So totally, like you said, Nine. Let us put out this song. Let's get the
Mhm,
juices flowing. You've been missing for a bit. Let's get the audience back on your side. Sure, this might not be the most intellectual song or might not be you, but let's put this out.
exactly.
And then, let's see where we can go from here. So, again, I don't normally side with the people that make these terrible business decisions. But in this case, I was right there with Nikki.
Yeah, it makes
But
sense.
unfortunately, Nikki doesn't know that she's just pushing Jocelyn further and further into the hands of Tedros as she runs off and has this kind of conversation with Raheem. Is it Raheem? Is that his name, if I'm not mistaken? The gentleman that we find out in this episode has been kind of protecting her since she was 11 years old, but he's kind of giving her.
Yeah, kind of like more of a father figure
Yeah,
in this
yeah,
role. He's been like there was a line about him fronting like half of the mortgage or
yeah,
whatever.
yeah, yeah.
But seems to be also a producer, but kind of
Right.
been with her from the beginning.
Yep.
Um yeah, like and this is what I actually liked about this episode. It seemed like we're getting a lot more character development for everybody.
Right. Right.
And a lot of their roles were being a lot more defined than this smorgasbord of people that we had in the
Yep.
last episode.
I agree, man. Because last week, me and you both were like, "Can are these people that she can trust?" Which we still there is. They all have alternative motives. Like him paying
Hmm.
for her mortgage helps him out because if his
Hmm.
star is making money, he's making money. But
Hmm.
to your point, now I think that from him and even I believe her name is Destiny, who kind of had these pep talks with her later in the episode. We got more from her team. It seems like they do care about her a little bit more than what we thought last week. Again, there's still some
Hmm.
alternative motives behind,
The
what they're
money is the
doing.
motive for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but it does seem a little genuine, especially with him and Destiny a little bit later in the episode. So I did appreciate those kind of quieter moments, showing that she does have people that I think are somewhat rooting for her, for hopefully the most part. But we fast forward now, and we talked about her scene last week regarding her pleasuring herself and her choking herself, and we get another one of those moments in this episode.
Did we need that? Did we need another moment like that?
It did feel very repetitive. And if you guys aren't, aware what we're referring to, I'm not going to obviously put the scene up there, but it's a moment where she's in the studio. She's listening to the song that her and Tedros made, and she's listening to a particular part of the song over and over and over again. It's the part where you would imagine she was at a peak in their moment. I'll just say that. And correct me if I'm wrong, Nine. Later in the episode, when we find out she has cuts in between her leg, this is from this
That
scene,
should be
correct?
from her. Yeah, she was like
Okay.
clenching a little. She was
Because I
clenching the
was I was
cheeks a
thinking like,
little
okay,
too hard, and
is this
then the
anything to
glass
do
broke.
with
Yeah.
Tedros in the previous? Like, did he do that to her? But yeah, I think it's safe to assume, like you said, now that it was due to her getting a little bit too. And as we talked about last week, when she pleasures herself, she likes to also feel some type of pain, and
Hmm.
we are to assume that the glass in between her leg that she had, she
Was
clutched it too hard and cut her legs up, which it's crazy. It is crazy.
so
But
they curved
going back
legs.
to your point now, and we talked about last week, that the scene last week sure could have been done handled differently, but it did tell a story, at least from a character. Like, she pleasures herself, she pains herself. We get more of that again, but do we need that again? Like you said, Nine, and I'll
Mm-mm.
pose the question to you. Did you think we needed to see her yet again pleasuring herself and harming herself again? Is that something that you think we need to keep seeing over and over and over again?
Like when I am talking about like these episodes could have just been one bigger or longer episode, or even still just an hour, right? Because it's this scene, right, with her pleasuring herself, choking herself a little bit, getting a little bit too feisty. Of course, this is setting up like for her video shoot and like why she would need like all the hours makeup.
Yeah.
But then there's the other scene with like the choreography, and I was
Right.
like, oh yeah, this is the choreography from the first episode. They were just
Right.
practicing that. But
Right.
again, we went over that in the first episode the first time.
Yep.
Then she sat out and we watched it, and then she joined it again, and then we watched it.
Yep.
And then we're watching it again this
Again. Yep.
episode on
Very
the
repetitive.
like, do we need that? I don't
Yeah.
I really don't think we need all of that to set up these characters or to set up these motives.
I agree
At
with you,
all.
man. And I definitely couldn't agree with you more in regards to making last week and this week and just taking some moments and just literally making it one episode. Because there's, as you just said,
Right.
we're repeating similar beats, different
Mhm.
locations, but similar results.
Right.
Which is kind of lazy writing to me. Like, we get it, we're not stupid, Sam Levinson,
Yeah.
the writer of the show. Like, we get she likes to torture herself.
Yeah.
We get that she is in a bad spot right now, and she keeps repeating these cycles of just like not believing in herself, which was a big theme in this episode. But like, I get it. We can move on to get more
Right.
about Jocelyn.
Because that
Besides,
was the same thing that
Yeah.
that was on her mind in the first episode.
Yep.
Oh, everybody's watching me.
Watching me,
I
yep.
better, get this rehearsal right. Okay, she killed it then. Then it's the same thing in this episode where
Yep.
she just doesn't feel like she's nailing it. Oh, then she's going to nail it. Okay. I don't know.
I agree, man. I agree, but we do get a little, like I mentioned earlier, we do get more shades and more backstory and more of the behind the scenes of Tedros and his operation, as we have his Chloe doing his rat tail in the background, and he finally
I
calls
started
her
laughing
back
when I saw her little hands
because it goes back
going
to
on
what
the
you said
rat tail
last
for
week,
doing it. Yeah.
hustle and flow, right?
Right,
Hustle and
exactly.
flow
Exactly.
recreation right here,
You're so right.
as he finally calls Jocelyn back after as he says his phone was on silent. I mean, listen, man, listen,
My
I
system had it.
I don't condone these actions, but when I was a young player back in the day, those are the lines you would say to someone you were maybe courting, like, "Oh yeah, my phone was charging all day, my phone was on silent. My bad, girl. How you doing today?" Right? Again, he's playing her and she's playing right into it. He says his phone's been off all day, this, that, and the third. And you can see the desperation in Jocelyn's voice when she says, "Oh, all right, no worries. Can we hang out today, tomorrow?" And he's again playing her. "Oh, I'm busy. I don't, I'm doing this." Nah, nah, nah. Again, stringing her along, making her want him, and it's working to his advantage, man. Like, it's sad that she can't see through it. Again, I would
Yeah.
imagine the way that they position Jocelyn as being this kind of pop star who's been doing this for years, that she's probably been through this cycle over and over and over again. Even this episode alludes to she was cheated on with her last boyfriend. So I don't know. Nah, this seems
Exactly.
like I know we're all human. We make the same mistakes. We live and learn. But it's just like I would imagine someone of her caliber can see through the BS, but she doesn't, which is
Yeah, and I think
bad
that
writing. I don't know.
is I think it's supposed to go with the fact that she just had this breakdown and she's kind of like
Yeah.
trying to figure her way back up
Right.
and
Right.
navigating like and doesn't really like have that much faith in her team right now,
Right.
but it's more of a out of the frying pan into the fire situation with
Yeah.
Tedros. And is his name Tedros? Is that what they were
That's what
saying? Like
that was the
first name, last
reveal from
name, Tedros. Okay.
the
Um,
background right there. Yeah.
well, yeah, it does feel like she may need to like know better about that, but at the
Yeah.
same time, I kind of get it. I kind of understand a little bit, but
Yeah.
yeah,
I mean, listen, man, because obviously we're the audience. We know that he's a terrible guy. We know what he's doing when he's on the phone with her. In her
mhm,
mind, I think in her mind, she doesn't think that he's, on the same level as she is. She thinks that this is a come up for him versus the other way around. Like, she doesn't really see it as a sense of like, maybe this dude can play me. Because I think, in this, I would imagine she's dated a bunch of people. Like you said last week, she's maybe never had a guy outside of her industry, at least that she doesn't know of. She doesn't know he's been in the industry, that she might just be like, "Oh, this club owner, he can't get one over on me." But like I said, it's
mhm.
just playing to her right under her nose. But as that's going on, Nine, we have, as the episode alludes to, double fantasy. We have a double game going on. I'm going to be working on Jocelyn. Meanwhile, Mr. Blondie over here, I believe his name is Isaac, he's running game on Leia, and she's
That
kind of
was really
falling
interesting
into
to
his
me.
hands. What'd you think
That was
about that,
really
man?
interesting. That was super interesting because, um, yeah, it reminded me of like some like type of like Andrew Tate type of, you know, girl cam show thing that they're
Yeah, yeah,
running
yeah.
or whatever. And
Read
I don't
this
know.
book and you'll get every girl you want.
Right, yeah, and he's like now teaching Isaac his ways of how to, land it. And
Yeah,
yeah, there's definitely some big scam going on here, or
100%.
just a way for him to like claw out of his debts. I just thought it was interesting that, you know, what is this cult like? This seems to be like the most intriguing part of the show. Like,
Right.
I
I
would
agree.
almost want to know, like, see a show about like how he
How he pimps these
built all
kids.
of this,
Yeah.
and like what he's
Yeah.
been through or whatever,
I
than all of
agree.
this stuff right now. But
I
maybe
agree,
that's what
man.
it's going to be showing us.
I, I couldn't agree with you more, man. This cult like situation going on is so much more intriguing than this kind of pop star we've seen in 1,000 times storyline. We've seen this before. A young
Mhm,
pop star messes up in life, gets wrapped into this conspiracy with these people that aren't good for her. We've seen it, but I'm like, oh, like you just said, how does he manage to get these people like a Isaac, like a Chloe, like a the young girl that we'll talk about, the backup dancer? Like, how does he wrap them into his webs? Because he doesn't. I mean, he has
mhm.
his club, but I don't see none of them getting Vanity Fair people running around interviewing them and having music
Right.
videos shot by them. So he doesn't seem to be successful. So what
Mhm,
is it that he's promising these young people that you would imagine he's manipulated? He's probably
mhm.
told them the same things that he's telling Jocelyn, but like, okay, why aren't they seeing
Exactly.
the BS? So I'm right there with you,
Exactly.
man. That is very intriguing, but it seems the show is conflicted of like not knowing what's the most interesting elements of their story.
Mhm. So yeah, what's the cult? Like, what is the main drive of the cult? And I almost didn't think that like we'll probably get to that later, but like when Isaac was talking about it, how they met, I was
Mhm.
like, I kind of do believe him.
I'm right there. Yeah, me
And
too.
I wonder if he's just like, scouting out talent and he's just kind of like, pretty bad and made some bad business decisions and is
Yeah,
trying to like claw his way back into a successful place. But
right.
yeah, I think that's like the most intriguing part of the show for me right
I
now.
agree, man. I agree with you, bro. Because as they said later in this episode, he's with Isaac's story, he's godly, right? So it's like, what
Mhm.
is it that he's putting in these kids' heads to make them think that way? So we will definitely dive into that a little bit further. But in the meantime, let me see what these people are talking about. And by the way, guys, we appreciate we got up to 96 of you all watching live on this beautiful Sunday, talking about The Idol episode 2 with myself and Nine from Nine Nerd Yards. Do me a favor, guys. If you are enjoying the conversation, hit the like button, share the stream. And I want to read you guys' comments at this point. So do me a favor. If you have a comment for myself or Nine, you can obviously get a super chat, not needed, but if you guys want to support the channel in that way, we will definitely read your comments. Or if you have a particular question for us, do me a favor if I could easily read it out through these great comments. Put in large caps Q&A and then put your questions so I can read through them a little bit easier. But in the meantime, now let me see what our people are talking about over here. A lot of them are agreeing with our commentary so far regarding just the whole Tedros of it all and the manipulation of it all. Let me see here. Maybe the glass break in between. Yeah, that's what we kind of alluded to. And she seems to kind of like the pain. So let's see.
I do like Locke also said Jocelyn is not innocent. That was a little bit of the 1048.
Yeah, we
And
talked about that last week, man. Yeah.
yeah, so we're kind of still hazy about like what her ambitions are too, and
Right.
like what she's definitely after.
Mm-hmm.
Um
Mm-hmm.
and that's still kind of a mystery to me.
The conversation we were having was this is just like, again, a repetitive behavior with her self-destruction, not only self-harm, but also just imploding her opportunities, her career, and stuff like that. And it seems like she might thrive in that, right? Again, she's trying to shake it up after losing her mom and all that stuff. So yeah, it is.
Mhm.
She isn't necessarily innocent, as the show really hasn't. I feel bad for her. Don't get me wrong, but it's just like, besides me feeling bad, there really hasn't been that much narrative writing to make me really kind of understand where this is coming from, as far as this self-destructive or just like this gaze that she has, that she can't see the BS that's going around her.
Right, right. I see Zayas B. Lou says, not gonna lie, Weekend would be a good Ozymandias or Brainiac. And that's interesting.
Who said? What was that? Who said that? Let me see.
That was Zayas B. Lou at 11
ISB.
p.m. here.
Let me
And
see.
I kind of want to see, because I do think that the Weekend could be good in like something
Mhm.
else, actually.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not
He's
finding the
giving
comment.
off a bit more like henchman vibes than actual like Brainiac type
Yeah.
of guy.
Yeah, I don't see it. But
but
yeah, I mean, hey,
Ozymandias
shout out to I don't agree. Watchmen and the main villain in Watchmen
and
and Brainiac from
Superman.
Superman. Yeah, I don't see those acting chops quite yet. Again, I wish I can agree with you, but I would definitely agree to disagree. I don't think I've seen
Mhm,
enough from him in these 2 episodes to make me say, oh yeah, he's definitely a leading villain type of actor. I don't see it quite yet. We'll see what
mhm,
the rest of this show has for us to see if he can get to those heights. But I haven't seen, especially. Oh, here it is. Was this the comment here? Is he?
mhm,
Not gonna lie, yeah. I mean, listen, shout out to that's a deep cut, to pull out those two great villains, but I just don't see it. I don't see it, man. But
mhm.
that's interesting, very very interesting. Let me see. Was there any other questions or commentary? What if Jocelyn's Miller played to him at the end? I think we said that last week, not and for what? What would be
Right.
the
What is he
manipulation?
going to
Like, what
be
would she
getting?
get out of him?
But
Um,
again, it's like if she does just need kind of like a break or rebound, and she
yeah,
actually does have everything under control right now, which I mean, it's already shown us as the audience, like we know she doesn't have everything under control.
yeah,
But this one facet of her life that she does feel like, she can have a little bit of like connection with someone, but it's not that serious and it's still being kept at a distance.
hmm
Maybe.
yeah.
Yeah,
I just don't.
She seems too lost to be.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
I totally agree with that comment. Again, I would be surprised, but then I'm just thinking about, like you just said, now, what to what extent, like what would be the point?
just for like selfish, emotional, like healing, like just her needing someone to hang out with that's a bit
Mhm.
more on the wild side and won't let it get way too far.
Yeah,
But in what we've seen is that it's already gotten a bit too far.
yeah.
So yeah.
We'll see. I mean, hey, color me shocked if that happens, but I just don't see it
Hmm.
playing out that way so far. But we'll see. But getting and great questions, great commentary, guys. Keep leaving your thoughts and comments in the chat, and every 10 to 15 minutes, I'll try to check in with you guys and see what's going on. But in the meantime, now getting back to the episode, man, we cut to this scene here with Jocelyn again. Just the whole kind of when is Santa coming for Christmas? She's just constantly on her phone. We have these cut scenes of her working out, but constantly thinking of the night with Tedros, her having
Hmm.
her food made by her maid, not willing to eat, just constantly texting him, calling him, and this is where we kind of get the seed being planted of him saying to her, maybe you need a new team, maybe you need to look
Hmm.
elsewhere, maybe you need to get someone else to restructure this single. So he's planting those seeds very early on with Jocelyn, and again, she's kind of really playing into it and not disagreeing with what he has to say. But now this is when the episode to me was kind of how last week was trying to show us this kind of chaotic lifestyle of her taking a photo shoot. There's a picture online. Her team's trying to put out the fire. She's trying to do this dance routine. Like last week's chaotic moment to me didn't play as well, fluently speaking. The blocking, the staging, the exciting incident just wasn't that exciting to me. But this
Hmm.
time around, this week, the chaos of going on felt a little bit more well put together. I'm referring to the scene where we see her at this very expensive video shoot that she requested. She doesn't seem to be satisfied because, again, the seed's been
Hmm.
planted of think bigger, you can be bigger, you have a deeper voice in you. And Tedros kind of plants her head. She's on the set, man, and we see her trying to do this dance routine, and she just wants it to be perfect. Now, Nan, is this her the Jocelyn before Tedros trying to recapture the magic she once had? Is this Tedros in her head telling her that she could do better? She should be doing better? Like, what did you take her chasing perfection? Was it more of the Jocelyn the superstar that we have been told that she is, or do you think this was Tedros in her secretly in her head, this like if he was on set telling her to do it over and over till she perfects it?
Yeah, that was like really strange to me. Just because again, it's like it's not the really the song that she wants to put out. So did seem like more of like self-sabotage than actual like, oh, I want to give it my all,
Right.
right?
Right.
It's maybe still just coming from a place that she doesn't believe in the song. So,
Interesting.
if she's not given like 110%,
Hmm.
uh, and she's already not ever going to be happy with her performance, right?
Right. Right.
So that is going to be used by her as a point where she can like just harp on that for so long. Like, I am not very happy with this. I'm not happy with my performance. So let's go. I will
Mm.
run myself ragged and until this is perfect, knowing that it's never going to be perfect. Right.
Interesting. So you take it in the perspective like she's self-sabotaging the situation.
Yeah. Yeah,
Interesting.
absolutely.
Interesting.
Absolutely.
I think I gotta agree with you, man. Like I think and you definitely opened my eyes to the idea of her not wanting this single to be it, which might go back to the conversation we've been having as far as not Jocelyn not being this innocent person that we've been maybe thought to believe so far in this episode. You might be onto something, Nine.
Mhm.
But I gotta admit, man, for the first time in this show, manipulative or not, I mean, if she is running this game, this is all a part of like a self-sabotage situation. She's good at what she's doing, I'll tell you that, man. Because when
Mm.
she's doing this over and over and over again, I'm like, damn, this is I kind of feel the pain, right? And we see her eventually, or the shoes are coming off because the feet are bleeding, the legs or the scars are being open.
I actually
Yeah,
really like this sequence, right?
I
Like
agree, man.
I
This
was
is the
like Lily
yeah,
Rose Depp, like she was getting it and like
yeah,
she really like put on a performance and like I could tell like in her face she was like acting her ass off. I actually really
yeah,
like the sequence. I just wish I didn't like actually know already like the dance moves from watching it so many goddamn times the
right.
last episode, right?
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
just how
I
many
agree,
times am I
man.
gonna see this
This
choreography?
choreography, yeah,
Jesus.
man. It's very mundane, but I definitely agree with you, man, as far as just like the performance by Lily, because I would imagine shooting this episode and shooting this scene in particular, I would imagine they kind of, David Fincher, one of my favorite directors of all time. He's known for having like literally 50 to 80 takes with some
Mm.
of the greatest actors of our generation. He tells Daniel Craig to shoot a scene 30 times for the girl with the dragon tattoo, or Ben Affleck through Gone Girls. Like these stories of just like doing it over and over and over again. And I would imagine Sam and maybe Lily was probably game for it, like having the not only the actual actor doing this over again, but then it plays into her character doing this over again.
Mhm.
So it makes the audience feel a little bit drained, feel a little bit like, oh, can we move on? Can we just move on? So I definitely agree with you. Now, this is probably
When
one
it
of the best
like
scenes.
pulled off and her feet were like this and
Oh
like
yeah. Oof.
like all messy and then it was
Yeah.
I was like, oh yeah, that looks like real. Like
It looks painful,
after
man.
all, yeah, that
And
looks
then she's
painful.
jumping in the air, and the guy's like hitting her thighs and hitting
Right,
her in
like
the back
dropping
area.
her
It's
a
like, ooh,
bit, and I'm like, yeah, that's tough right there.
I
Yeah, I
agree.
really did appreciate that sequence a lot.
I agree.
And then all the while we are learning more about like Ted Rose, like
Yep.
people are chattering, gossiping or whatever. Um, with Jenny, she's getting talked to because people are like, "Oh, she really knows how to dance." And she needs to be on stage 5. I was like, oh, okay, so now there's a little bit more of a web turning here, and
Yeah.
I really like that.
I agree. And I totally agree with you. Everything going on in the background, Destiny finding out about Tedros. We have all that going on with Diane now, which seemed a little bit too easy, just being like
Yeah.
plucking someone. But I mean, I guess that happens, man. You see
Mhm.
talent, you're seeing your star is falling off of her pedestal. You need to recover pretty quickly, and this obviously works out to Tedros. He has two horses in the game. But only thing that I didn't really care for not in this whole scene was this Xavier, I think is his name. He's like the head of marketing or something like that.
Yeah.
the conversation between Xavier and the person from Vanity Fair, Tyla, I think her name was. I can't think of it right now, but I didn't really care for that. I mean, I get what it was going for.
Mhm.
Was he was giving her, not knowingly giving her dirt that she's going to probably use against Jocelyn whenever this piece comes out. But
Mhm.
besides that, now I didn't really care for this. I'm like, can we stop? I don't really care about Xavier and what he used to do and if he's happy
Mhm.
or not. Again, understanding that it's going to play into this article that she's writing, but I didn't really care for this moment with all the other stuff going on.
Yeah, and the way that she pulled out her notepad after he like left and got up, I was just like, "What? How is this really anything to do with what you're going to be writing? Like,
Yeah.
who is this guy again? Like, who
It,
cares?"
yeah, it kind of played very much so like it just kind of a flat dud. Like, oh, like this big
Mhm.
Xavier guy this is gonna really ruin her career by telling her that he's not happy with where he's at in his career. Like, who
Right.
cares? I don't what.
Yeah.
But I mean, we'll see. Whatever this article is,
Yeah.
obviously she's gonna probably use it against her. But I will say probably the funniest moment throughout all this Chaos 9 was when Leia pulls over. I think his name is Ahim. But she
Yeah,
can't.
yeah.
She kept saying he's a
He's
person of
like, "This
color.
person
He's a
of color,"
Is
right?
he black?
Right.
Yeah. Like
Yeah.
it kind of to me is just like a social commentary how everyone's walking on eggshells of like not knowing how to say certain
Right.
things or crossing lines or offending someone. It's just like being
She's
overly
still my favorite character in the
for sure,
show.
for
She's
sure,
still my
man.
favorite character.
I agree. I
Um,
agree.
but yeah, this whole sequence it did call me back to Babylon when they're on the soundstage and they really can't get
Oh my
everything
god,
right or whatever, and
that
just like
scene.
the out of
Yeah.
focus or whatever, and
Oh
it's the
man.
same when everyone is like opening the door, like they weren't getting the sound right. That was it's really nice to see like the behind the scenes type of stuff that's going on. And it's really interesting when you are watching a show about like a production being made and you can kind of get that behind the scenes energy
Yeah.
of like the chaos that would
Yeah.
actually be going down around that.
I couldn't agree with you more, man. I thought, and that's a perfect comparison. Babylon, that scene was hilarious
Yeah.
with that take and Margot Robbie's character not being on the mark. And guys, go
Right.
watch Babylon. Don't let the box office fool you. It's a great film, but that is such a great call out now because yeah, the doing it over and over and over and over again had to be. It stressed me out, man. And then the one time
That
she perfects it. Which, by the way, I mean, when they
was
knew it was
weird.
out of focus, stop right then and there. Like, I don't know why. I guess they
Why
thought
are
it was another
we
coverage going on. It was another. I don't know if they thought they can salvage it, but it's like, stop it
that was
if
really
you know
weird.
it's out of focus. I'm like, what the hell are y'all
Yeah.
doing?
Yeah, like I felt for Jocelyn right there because that was like
Yeah,
the take when she just kills it,
perfectly.
and
Yeah,
yeah, and then she just gets back on stage and starts crying. I was just like,
I
yeah,
couldn't
that
agree with you more,
sucks.
man. It did. It did. I felt for him. But going back to this scene with Nikki talking to Diane. So are we to assume, Nine? I don't know if next week or the weeks ahead that she's going to replace Jocelyn. Is this the seed that's being planted that once Jocelyn's burnt out, that she has a plan B to step in for?
Right? Will it be that at the end of this, like Jocelyn is out,
Right.
she's in, and Tedros is signed with her, so she's just like, it's the weekend moving back into his own house and pushing out Jocelyn. And it's like, all right, scram. Is that going to be the end of the series, or I don't
That's
know?
too easy, isn't it not? Isn't this the writing on the wall? Like it has to be more
Yeah.
tragic, more layered, more depth than just
Right. I
put
hope
me
it
in,
is. I
coach.
hope it is.
Uh, uh,
But we'll see. But like, yeah, there's definitely something developing here. And
yeah.
I mean, yeah, she sounds great. She dances great.
Yeah.
Um,
And I
who knows?
mean, as we talked about last week, she is, a K-pop artist. I mean, she, no fault to Lily. She's a great actress, but
Mhm.
this Diane is a much better singer, much better dancer,
Yeah.
which I think plays into the show. And that she is better than her. I wonder what the age difference is too, because I wonder if like she's much more significantly younger than Jocelyn. If it is like this
They
whole
seem like the same
tragic.
age
That's what I
or
figured too. Like, why are
yeah.
you replacing her with someone that's like her? Like, if you want to go younger, I can see that. But
Right.
I guess it might play into this whole like, this is Hollywood. One man's trash is another man's treasure type of situation where she's just gonna replace her after they torn her down and broke her apart. So Definitely something, and I think this screenshot that I have on here perfectly summarizes just kind of the situation she finds herself in, surrounded
Mm,
by all these strangers, and she's kind of by herself and can't break out of it. So we'll see, man, what comes of this kind of this situation with Diane. But I do
mm-hmm,
want to point out a tragic moment again. I don't think the show has done the best job of making me entirely sympathize with her, narratively speaking. But when
mm-hmm.
she's finally broken down, like you mentioned, Nine, she's crying, she's on stage, the shoes are coming off, there's blood. Destiny's trying to pick her up, and she's trying to push through it. But then she has a moment where she's just screaming out for her mom, which
Mm.
it was sad, man. I'm not gonna lie. Like that moment, it kind of came from a position of just like, and again, I speculated. I wonder if her mom was like a good influence on her or a bad influence. It seemed like she was good, and she misses her mom a lot. How'd you feel about that scene, Nine, of her actually like breaking down and calling out for
Yeah,
her mom?
like that was again like the kind of like uh emotional resonance that I wanted in the last episode, right? Instead of just getting like a little bit of hints or whatever about how she feels about her mom, like we actually have a clear indication of she really relied on her mom as her emotional core to where she's never actually done this before
Good
without her
point.
mother.
Without her mom there,
So
yeah, yep,
so I was like, okay, yeah, now I'm caring. Now I
yeah,
feel like a little bit for this character and what she's going through. um, but at that point, there was just no lead up, right? There's no
yeah,
like, it didn't, it feels like there was nothing in her head, and almost as if she was just like putting that out there again, like for the sake of just the fact that she didn't want to really do the shoot at all, right?
right,
So
right.
I'm like, is this part of her game that she's now just bringing this up, or was this also something that she's been worried about this whole time? Don't know
Right.
because we're just seeing it now.
Good point, man. Good point. I like where you're going on, and kind of sticking to that whole theme of like game being running. And again, I think the show deliberately, again, the title Double Fantasy, we have these parallel stories going on. So, and they did it a couple times in this episode. When one thing was happening to one character, the same thing's happened to another character. And we
Mm-hmm.
have this scene here that kind of was like, again, the whole cult aspect of it. We cut to this scene with
Oh
Tedros,
my god, this is so
yeah,
weird.
with Blondie over here with Isaac dancing, and he's like, "You got to move. You're not a person. You're a superstar." And I think he had like a shock collar on him, on his neck, on his private areas, where whenever he didn't do the right move, he shocked him.
But what
And
moves is he
what
doing
move right
though?
is this for? And of course, was it a porn, or were they preparing to shoot a porn? I don't know. What was this, a
Right.
music video? Like what was he performing for? It was a very weird scene. Nine. Any thoughts from you on Mister Blondie over
How
here dancing
many
with a shot collar?
white women does he need? And,
Gathering them all up, man. Got to catch them all.
it's just kind of like crazy, this whole performance that he's putting on, and then all of these people watching. uh what exactly is he doing? And especially that line, "You're not a
You're not a
human,
human.
you're a
Yeah.
star." uh for what though?
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, I
What
think he
is
has his hands in
this?
some type of porn situation. While
Mhm.
we're trying to get you on the rise to being a pop star, let me go ahead and take a couple pops on this scene with some pornography on the
Right.
side. Yeah, he's a dirty
Are
schemer,
they
man.
like seeing like how long he can like keep it up in front
Thrust,
of
yeah, keep
people?
thrusting, yeah.
Just
Put it in the
lower.
hips.
You
And
want me to do some
he's
squats or what? Like,
I
what are you
man,
talking
listen,
about?
your guess is as good as mine. Now I don't know what this fool got him doing.
Let me
But
ask you this though.
shoot for it,
How
man.
much money
How much money for what?
to do that? How
To
much
do what he
money?
was just doing?
How much money? Yeah.
Like for you talking about for me doing that?
Yeah.
I mean, to dance for all these girls getting shocked on balls.
Yeah.
I mean, 100 grand? Is that
100
is
grand?
that too
Okay.
much, or am
Okay.
I
All
jumping too
right,
high?
guys. the poll's at 100 grand.
100 grand,
We need
right?
those donations to come in,
Look,
guys.
man, sometimes it might desperate times call. I might do it for 20. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. Nah, depends on the time of the month, man. But
Yeah.
let us know in the chat, guys. What would y'all? What's the price tag for
What's the
y'all doing
price?
what Isaac was doing? And again, we don't know what he was doing. Just
We don't
thrusting.
even know what
We don't even
yeah.
know. But let us know in practicing those thrust shots. How much would y'all be paid to do such a good thing? But like I said, while all this craziness is going on now, we got Nikki talking to Diane. She tells the Vanity Fair, like, "Oh, you're gonna want to get a load of this." Write an article.
Right.
Okay, wherever that's going, we'll see what comes of that. But while all that's happening now, and again, we're feeling bad for Jocelyn. We find out that the gentleman that's been her pseudo manager for all these years has been there since she was 11 when he discovered her, almost kind of like a I think at a mall or something, and people told her to sing again. And this is where we get again kind of that understanding of her financial situation, how she is struggling, that he's been fronting her money for the past year and been paying for her mortgage for the past year. And this goes back to the conversation earlier where it's just like, it's kind of a double sword where it's like, that is nice of him to help her out in that sense. But at the same time, if he doesn't help her, your star, your client's going to be out in the street. So what does it benefit
Yeah.
you to not help her out? So it's kind of like,
It's really
do you
hard
think
getting that
it's,
entangled web
from
of
the
life.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's very, very interesting, man. But we cut over to the last 20 minutes of this episode, which I thought were absolutely garbage. I'm not gonna lie, Nine. I thought this was so terribly written. The performances to me were just just stagnant, and it was just. We'll get to the one scene, but I just thought this was just a very oddly put together last 10 20 minutes of this episode, as it's now. Well, actually, before we get to that, we get I don't want to forget this moment. We get the big reveal, which wasn't that big of a reveal because I think we alluded to it last week. Diane is in cahoots with
Right.
Rat Tail himself.
Yeah.
She's like, "Oh, is she a better what than me?" And oh no, baby, no,
Yeah.
you still my number one.
You did call that out. I remember you talking
Yeah,
about that last week.
with the
Yeah,
whole
you did
party.
nail
Yeah,
that.
like, oh, let's
Yeah.
go to this one party. Let's make sure of it. And yeah, it turns out that they are working together. And this is all, well, at least Diane, I guess she says that, oh, I didn't know this was part of your scheme, which is kind of weird
Yeah,
because then it
right.
kind of goes against what I just said. But
Right.
they're working together regardless.
Yeah.
And
Double
we find
cross,
out.
double fantasy.
There you go. There you
Double
go. And
agent.
we exactly. And we find out in this moment when she says that Nikki wants to sign her, get Nikki on the phone. Let's negotiate. So again, this whole thing of Jocelyn being in the background, if it works, good. If it doesn't, I got another ace in the hole. And it's a win-win for him. He's going to have his cake and eat it too, I guess, is the big thing.
Yeah. And maybe it will work out better for him to run Jocelyn into the ground, right? And he's got her to pick up the pieces or whatever. Already got it in with the studio.
Yep.
And it's going to pay off for the rest of his cult or whatever. Who knows?
We will see, man. We will see. But let us know what you guys think about this reveal. Is Diane going to maybe see through his BS and give Jocelyn a tip that he's using her? Is she just going to let her be ran to the ground for she can come up on top? Will one of these characters have a tragic ending? And I'm referring to a death being involved. Let us know what you guys think this particular plot's going to go, because they're definitely shaping it up to be
I
something
think
pretty exciting.
someone will die. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think someone's passing.
Yeah.
Passing.
I agree with you, my friend. But before we wrap up the episode 9, let's check in with our people in the chat again. We got 160 y'all watching. Appreciate every 160 y'all. If you guys could, I would appreciate hitting that thumbs up, sharing, and of course leaving your thoughts and comments via super chat. Or if you have a question for me and 9, put in capital letters Q&A, and I'll be able to read off your question. But in the meantime, let me see if there's any good things that they are saying out there. The weekend gonna leave. It's too long. Where's her money? Is it under? Oh, yeah, that's a good question. Zia's question about like the money of it all. from the conversation she had with her manager, I would assume that she has full control over her finances, which
Yeah.
shows that she doesn't know how to control her finances because her manager is helping her with her mortgage and stuff like that. So I don't think she has anyone like controlling her money because she would probably have more money if someone
Hmm.
was controlling it. What do you think about that, now?
Yeah, I mean, she was talking about how she can like pay for the next shoot, and she
Right,
just
four
wanted to
hundred
cancel the
thousand or
whole
something, was
day.
it?
I was, yeah, yeah,
Oof.
and I was like, wow, okay. But if she is able to make that promise, like, yeah, I can pay for the next shoot, then I don't think it's like anything as strict as a conservatorship.
Mhm,
But
mhm,
I do believe she has these obligations, and that's why the label executive is like so very present in her going ons, um, to make sure that like the music gets produced, the music video goes out, right?
mhm,
Um,
mhm.
because not everybody will be like full hands on deck if
Yeah.
it wasn't like if you like they said she's hanging from a string. So
Yep. Yeah, she's struggling right now, man. A lot of people like that twist that was going on. What was this one? The Voices says, if her mother was so terrible, why was she calling for her during the filming of the video? Again, we're assuming that she wasn't, but if she was, I mean, it just kind of shows to the story plot of maybe that she just kind of prefers people to control
mhm,
certain situations, and she needs her mom there, and now she's kind of replaced her mom with Tedros, someone that is taking
mhm,
command and guiding her career. So again, I don't know if we'll get more information of who her mother was to her and what she meant to her career, but so far it seems to be maybe more positive than negative. But again, it
yeah,
seems like everyone around her in some way looks good, but at the same time you look at them like, well, they're just using her, they're just
all right.
being nice to her because that's
And
money in their
again,
pocket.
if she started this as like when she's like super young,
Yeah, 11,
like how
yeah.
like yeah how she that's her rock. Like her
Hmm.
mother's always just going to be her rock, especially if she just started this when she was young as hell. And we've seen it so many times before with all of these like young child stars or whatever when they grow up, and their parents may not be the best, but still
Right.
like what they have.
Exactly. Exactly. We hear it all the time with these child kids, and you see these behind the scenes like, damn, their parents were pretty terrible.
Hmm.
But speaking of stars, now we got a star in the chat, Sharana from Payer Wait, coming
Hey,
by saying
I'm
what's
a
up.
subscriber.
Yeah, she's a mega star, man. Just saying, hey, leaving because I haven't watched the episode yet. Well, definitely, if you guys haven't already, check out Sharana's channel. I'm pretty sure you all know her because, like I said, she's a mega star. But excited to hear her thoughts on it, because she covers the show as well. So shout out to Sharonda, guys. Love to see her in the chat. But let me see, is there any other commentary? You guys got some great stuff, man. Keep it coming, keep it coming. But let's wrap this episode up, and we'll get to more of the comments after, man. So last week, Mr. Batman just appeared, out of thin air with his trench coat from hell. But now he's back, and he's back with a group this time now, and he has his whole crew with him,
Yeah,
coming
the rest of the
through.
vampires.
The rest of the lost boys and girls
Yeah.
coming through to her house uninvited, and this is where we're officially introduced to Chloe. We get more time with Isaac as he continues to play games with Lila, and they're having a party now, and they are doing some coke. They're doing some alcohol. They're just partying, living it up. And in the
Hmm.
meantime, Jocelyn's like, "Hey, this is fun. New
Hmm.
kids on the block.
Yeah.
Chloe's butt ass naked running in the pool." And poor Layla, man. Did you feel, again? I know she's one of our favorite characters, if not our favorite character show so far, but she's just kind of like numb to it all in a sense, like she wants to say something, like she's trying to get information from Isaac when they're hooking up. And as we talked about a little bit earlier, like he says, which again, I think he was being authentic, Nine, but you never know. It could be all part of the lie. He tells her that he met him in church and
Yeah.
he was singing and he changed him, he transformed him, and he's godly. Again, I don't know if I fully believe all of it, but it sounds pretty true. What did you think about all this stuff going on here now before we get into the most ridiculous lines of dialogue I've probably heard this year?
Yeah, like I feel bad because, she isn't even in the realm of like picking up that she may be being played.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, yeah, it just the dialogue that they had on the phone is just like, oh, a lot of people say that I'm like so East Town or like East Coast
Yeah.
and uptight. I'm like, yeah, I wonder why. But she found herself a little boo or whatever, and she seems
Yeah. A
to be
little
kind of
blondie.
content. And I was wondering if it's just like it it was picked up from the beginning. Is just like the weekend. Ted Rose was just like, all right, that's her assistant, best friend. You
Yep.
need to go
You need
and
to
get
get it.
on
Yep.
that and like have
Yep.
her distracted so I can
Scoop
put this
in
on
and
and
yeah.
swoop in. Yeah, so it's been a dirty game. It's been a dirty game from the beginning, and um, I do think that you know until the next scene where we see her just like getting her back blown out, I was just like, oh, maybe she's going to be putting this all together. But yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
Me neither, man. It's just like she seems to have a clue, but not entirely. She seems to be kind of clueless at the same time. It's kind of a weird situation going on. Which even speaking of weird, I guess I'm just keep thinking about this Diane situation, that conversation early in the episode. You get the sense that Tedros knows, he keeps tabs on all his little minions and all his little followers. How did he not know that Diane was like a backup dancer for one of the biggest stars in the industry, and vice versa? When Diane saw that he took her home that night or they hooked up, like that, I'm just thinking about that scene
Yeah,
when they're like, they seem to not know that either one of them was in cahoots with Jocelyn. That plays weird. So it
I
makes me think,
guess
like, you would have thought that Tedros had
right.
planted that seed, like, I want you to get in with her, become a backup dancer, become her friend, but he had no idea that she was involved, and it's kind of
Well, I
weird. I don't
think
think about it.
because like all of those girls are like kind of like he just says send the word out to bring these people here to the club, right? And
Right,
that's
right.
where we lay the incident, right? Or where
Mhm.
we put our claws in. So maybe it's just like she had brought her back. It actually worked out, but he didn't really know that it was
Know
going to
the
be like
extent of,
that.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
know the extent of it or like who it
True.
was that like brought her in. But I think
Good point.
that's what's
Good
going
point.
on with all of the other girls that we seen when he was putting on that performance for them.
Right.
Yeah, so
It's a good
mm,
point. Yeah, you're
mm,
totally right. Because again, we're under the assumption that it's been 8 months of just kind of slowly recovering, and Diane could have been well. But it seemed like her and Diane had a good relationship. Like she was like, they had that scene in the sauna, and when Diane checked on, "You okay, girl?" Like it seemed like they were friends for a minute
mhm,
at least. But it maybe speaks to like how Jocelyn just allows anyone just to become her best friend overnight. She
mhm,
trusts Tedros with one night sleeping with him, and the next day he's like moving in. So I guess it just kind of speaks to, she's at this very vulnerable state right now where like
right,
anyone that can come in is going to be on her team because she's lost her mom, and she's very in this state of just like anything and everyone is giving me attention has the good intentions, I guess. we'll,
mhm,
we'll see, man. But we pivot over to, again, we talked about the scene with him learning he found him in the church, which we'll see if that is to be true. But we have Tedros and Jocelyn still having, he's still in her head telling her that she's a big star, and again playing up to what he was doing last week and telling her everything that she probably wants to hear at this point, making it seem as though that he has her best interests, yada 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 nine, everything at this point. When they go to the bath, which by the way, while all this is happening, Chloe's running around the house naked,
yeah,
trying on her clothes, trying on her diamonds, almost putting
gonna
herself in this
be the
position. Yeah,
new,
like, I'm
yeah,
going to be the new
new
Jocelyn
Jocelyn,
once
right,
we work her and run this game on her.
right.
They're in the bathroom, nine, or in the bedroom, and yeah, man, this is some of the worst dialogue I've heard in a very long time. I thought the weekend's delivery, all the way down to when he's, they're in the looking at the Prince sign and everything that
That was
came out of
so
this man's
weird.
mouth. Man,
That's
I
so
don't even
weird.
know where to begin. Nine, we finally, they're kissing. They go upstairs. She tells him, "I want you to get the robe from last week," and screw me till I'm blacked out or whatever. He sees that homegirl's in the closet. She gives it to him, and not. take it away, Nine. Like I don't even know where to begin, man. I tried to write down some of this worst dialogue. Lines that stood out to me was the foreplay of like, "You gonna have me acting a fool, girl." Bro, the stuff this
Yeah, it
man was saying to her
was
is like, is
all
this
very
turn this her on?
generic. It was 50 Shades of No, right? Like
50 Shades
just
of No.
um
Hell no,
50 Shades of Tedros.
man.
I don't understand. Well, because I was looking down on my phone and I looked back up because he was talking like that, and I realized that they were like across the room from each other. And I was like, what's going on here? What's happening?
Hey, screaming from outside the room,
Yeah. And I was like, okay.
man.
And he's just like, oh yeah. Uh, you know, excuse my French, excuse my French. And
Yeah.
it just did just come off so okay, cringy. I'm just looking at the comments here.
Yeah, that's
Ridiculous, absolutely. Um, who signed off on this writing? Absolutely. Like again, these are all of the same questions that I have. I'm mystified just like everyone else is. And I've been kind of a apologist for this episode, but I cannot apologize for this scene. Cannot.
listen, the dialogue is trash regardless, but it would have played better if we would have understood that Jocelyn is very much so going back to our conversation last week. If this was the beginning of her career, she's just being exposed to the game. She doesn't know who to trust. This guy is this creep. She's just listening to him, really not knowing how to run games. She's, I don't know, a virgin. She's never been in the situation.
Yeah.
Sure. Maybe the game he's running is like top tier. Give him
Yeah.
give him the
In
whole
this
championship.
universe.
Right. In this world, this man's running game on her. Like he's splitting game. He has Riz out the ass. But nah, bro.
Yeah.
She's no innocent girl. We saw last week the photo. She's
Yeah.
very, she's very sexually
Right.
active and good for her. These lines of dialogue, I would think that this speaking of pardon for I think this would get any girl as dry as a desert. You know what I'm saying? Nah,
As the
like I don't
Texas
understand.
wildfire.
Yeah. This
Yeah.
stuff this man was saying to her was so bad. I felt bad. Like I wanted to turn it
Hmm.
off because it was just so bad.
Yeah.
Like who wrote this? Is this the weekend? Like, and listen, I talked about I don't listen to his music that much, but he says, when he's singing his songs, like they got some
It's
bars. Now I don't know if he writes
really
those bars, but I'm like, yo, he got,
right.
I would
Like
think
I'm
that
just
this man
like
would know how to spit game, Nine, but
exactly.
nah, bro.
Yeah, like double fantasize about something else to say, to be honest.
He talking about suck my finger. And then listen, last week
Just
we talked
across
about
the
how,
room though, like
yeah,
this is
she
I mean
has her
audibly
hearing is amazing. She was able to hear him in a loud ass club last week, him whispering to her, and now
right.
he can hear him 20 feet away. But last week we talked about like the provocateur nature of the show and like what does everyone. I don't think we need to hear, not to get too X-rated now, but I don't think we need to hear her performing the act on him for as long as the show had it planned on what she was
Mhm.
doing to him in this scene. To me was a little bit overboard. Like I didn't need to hear her, you know,
It's
doing
getting
what she
too
was doing.
much. Yeah.
It was too much
Like
from
I'm
left and
watching
right.
this alone just in my apartment,
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
yeah,
Like I
man.
just need to
That wasn't
just
necessary. I didn't need to hear all
I don't need to like
choking and stuff that
have
was
my
going on.
neighbors fucking hear all that, you know? Gotta shut my windows.
It was it was again. I'm looking at the scene as we're talking about it. Turn around, girl. Let me see them. Like the stuff this man was. Let me see them, bro. I'm like, yo, this is bad,
Big
man.
juicy ass.
That
Like
juicy ass
it's
girl.
not that
It's
juicy.
like, bro, are
Um
we in high school, man? Like, what is
um
going on? And then,
but
mind
yeah,
you, Chloe's getting off on this. Like, what? This scene is just,
right, Chloe is watching. Yeah.
man.
And actually, because of Chloe's like actual like natural talent, it seemed,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
was like actually, I'm like actually fucking with Chloe because she seems like a crazy person, but at least she can
yeah.
like tickle them ivories, you know what I mean? I was like, okay, she's actually putting that stuff together. I'm am seeing here. Someone asked about the writing credits. It is Sam Levinson,
Mm-hmm.
The Weekend,
Mm-hmm.
and then Reza Fahim. So
And
The
then
Weekend does have writing
writing
credits on
credits
this
makes
episode.
sense. Makes sense.
and
His
it
house's rules,
maybe
right?
will find his yeah.
Oh man. This to me,
Man.
nine, talking about the WGA of it all and writers' strike. This seems like something that a chat would come up with. The lines were just so bad. But then it doesn't get any better. Nine. The next, I believe it
Mhm.
was the next morning, or at least the next scene. She's done doing what she's doing, and shout outs, like you said, shout out to Chloe, man. She does have some pipes, man. She was kind of hitting those bars on the piano and playing the piano. She seems to
Mhm.
be, regardless of how we feel about this Colt, I guess he does have an eye for talent.
Mhm.
Diane's pretty dope. I don't think Isaac. I mean, he was kind of hitting those notes, but the stroking and the moves he was doing was kind of stiff. But it's a family affair, Nine, as they say, as they're singing this song about mothers not accepting their child's, and it goes on further about that's like,
Mhm.
regardless of who they are, they're almost essentially speaking to all these broken people in the room, of a sense where it's just like, we come from these broken homes, but hey, that's just who we
Mhm.
are.
I
That's
felt
my
like that song
family.
was planted. That song felt planted as hell to
Exactly. To
target
bring
Jocelyn's
Jocelyn, this is her
cycle.
family.
Yeah, like, yeah,
Exactly.
we understand
Exactly.
you.
Hmm.
You need to be with us. Yeah.
Right. They all come from these broken homes. Their moms were either there or not there, and they're all kumbaya. But we end on a shot
Mhm.
with Layla. Again, we don't know if she sees the game after getting her back blown out, or if she's part of the game. Does she want to warn her friend? Is she like, I'm confused at this point? But we end with this
Mhm.
sing along, which we talked about the weekend writing this episode. Do you think he wrote that song, Nine? Do you think we're credited that he's credited for writing these lyrics for "That's My Family"?
Maybe. I thought that was like some real shit, to be honest. I can't remember the lyrics right now. But
They
yeah, it
weren't.
could
Yeah,
be.
could be. But I mean, going back to the Layla of it all, man. Do you think she's gonna play? I don't want to say she's playing dumb, but she's from when we first met her. She's always taken the side of Jocelyn, like, oh, the photo maybe it wasn't as bad as it is, and she seems to want to give her the benefit of the doubt. Will she speak up, or will she just keep playing the game?
Oh yeah, she's gonna speak up. That's the face of post nut clarity right there.
Yeah.
She's like, okay, I got my note off. It's like, what's happening again? Like, who the fuck are these people in my house? What y'all singing about? Okay, actually, I don't like any of this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Get out.
Yeah, I hope so, man. I hope she speaks up because she seems to be very preserved and doesn't like
Mhm.
drama or tension. But I mean, she might also, she has to play it smart because she can also realize that her best friend is kind of caught in this web, and anything that she throws at her might bounce back, and she might just be like, "Oh,
Mhm.
you're just jealous," blah blah blah. So I don't know. Layla might have to play it a little bit smarter, where she has to get like actual proof or evidence that she's being played,
Mhm.
but it might be too late. So
Yeah.
it will be. It was funny what you said. The kind of the next morning, like it all hit her. She's realizing this, but we'll
Yeah.
see, man. But in any final, and by the way, those watching live, we're going to continue to be live for a little bit longer. We're going to wrap up the breakdown here. But any final thoughts from you, Nine? Again, I know you mentioned earlier that you feel like episode 2 was a lot better than episode 1. But what were some things that makes you want to stick around for next week? Because right now I'm kind of on the fence based on these last 10 minutes with this terrible writing. But what say you, Nine? What did you think about this episode overall? And does it keep
Uh,
you interested to what's going to happen in the weeks ahead?
yeah, I think that episode 3 will be intriguing. It seemed good. I watched the preview. I usually never like watch previews, but I watched a preview for this one, and it did seem like, okay, like there's going to be a clash. Now the teams are going to be meeting up. Jocelyn, Leia are going to be needing to make some decisions about how they're going to be moving forward, and also, the claws are going to be sinking into the situation a bit more. So uh, I think this was all good setup, right? I wish that this next episode was actually going to be episode 2, and all of this that we got was just one episode, or them
Yep.
dropping a 2 episode premiere or
Yep.
something. I would be a lot lighter on it, but it's
Mhm.
a lot of it's weird. It's a weird show shaping up to be a weird one.
Yeah, and again, knowing that it's only 6 episodes, 9, so we're kind of
Mhm.
at the the halfway point. Next week we will be. I totally agree with you, 9. With episode 2, definitely was more intriguing because last week, as we talked, it was pretty boring for a premiere episode. And there's a lot of stuff in this episode that would have benefited from being in last week to really kind of catch our attentions and really kind of sink us in. But the thing that's keeping me on board so far, 9, and you said it perfectly earlier, is the stuff with the cult. Like, how does he go around recruiting these people? How do they stick around? How do they not see through his BS? This repeated behavior of like, okay, who's next? Is it Chloe? Is it Diane? Is it Isaac? And there seem to be some other women that he's in cahoots with. So like, how does he prioritize who gets the
Mhm.
next thread to be the next star? Like, how do they
Right.
not eat each other and tear each other apart just wanting that fame? So that right now is the most intriguing element of the show. I will give props to Lily. I think she's doing a really solid job so far. Like, whenever she really has
Yeah.
those vulnerable moments, even though I don't feel like the show has written those out for me, I
Yeah.
feel like her performance is giving me a little bit more than the stuff on the
Yeah.
page.
I
So
hope
I'm
she
really,
is
yeah,
in more stuff after this, you
agreed,
know?
agreed.
Yeah.
And I hope they don't, which it seems to be that way now, that they're just going to go the stereotypical. She's going to have her blinders on. Her peripherals are cut off. She's not going to see through any of
Mhm.
Tedros' BS. I don't like when shows do that to any character, but in particular, like young, impressionable women that's being sucked into a situation. It's like, come on, man,
Right.
Twitch 2023. Can we not do that
Mhm.
same song and dance? So I hope that's
Right.
not the lane we're going down. But like you said, based on the trailer, it seems to be all these fools are moving into her house. Her team is going to slowly but surely be out of the house and out of her way.
Exactly.
It's going to be frustrating. So right now, I don't know who's that character that's going to be like not an idiot and having us being like, yes,
Mhm.
talk,
Mhm.
do the right thing. Everyone right now seems to have egg on their face, and I don't know if the show's going to be able to really give us something enticing based on these first 2 episodes. So we'll see, 9. As you said last week, man, these conversations are almost just as fun than the actual
Yeah.
episode as we break it down. But we'll see what's to come up at 9. Let us know in the chat. Again, for all those that are watching live, we will still be live, taking any of your live questions for the next 10 to 15 minutes or so. But wrapping up the video, let us know in the chat what you all thought of this episode, your pros, your cons, your thoughts, your theories, your favorite moments, your least favorite moments. Could you, which I'm pretty sure you can, write a better scene than the last 10 minutes? Let us know your thoughts on that cringy dialogue and what you all hope to see in the weeks ahead. Don't forget
Yeah.
to like, share, comment, subscribe to my man 9 Nerd Yards, whose information can be found in this video. And we'll catch you all on the next breakdown. That's the end of the breakdown. We're still here live with you all. Throw in your live questions, any comments, concerns. While they're doing that, 9, I didn't forget. You said you were going to briefly share some thoughts on the your experience with Spider-Man, man. What did you think about it?
Oh my gosh, it was really good. When I was in the theater and having it open with Gwen Stacy's universe or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
and then having it like the watercolor and like her
Gorgeous, man.
whole art style, um, having that transition back to Miles and like how they're kind of like co-leads for the whole movie, and it's
Right,
kind of
yeah.
like her narration.
Mm-hmm.
Well, spoiler alert. I hope everyone has had a chance to see it, but um, at the end, there is this moment where we realize that this is kind of like the movie is a retelling of her to get people on her team. And I didn't know that this was a part one of two.
Oh, they got you, man. Did they get you?
Yeah, I did not.
I,
So, like,
I
when it
knew.
ended, I was just like, what the
Where's the rest of the movie,
and
man?
then I was so happy to learn that it was coming out like next year. I was like,
Fingers
oh,
crossed, man, because there's been some
please
stuff over the
not.
last couple of days that they haven't recorded, like all the dialogue yet. There's a writer strike, of course, so
They
hopefully
haven't recorded. It's like
Haley
set for
Steinfeld came out, so they
March.
haven't recorded her dialogue at all for the film, which is
Oh,
kind of
it's
scary because
definitely getting
yeah,
delayed then.
yeah.
Okay. But
But we'll
still,
see.
it's
Yeah.
not going to be another like 5 years until we get
No, no, no,
another
no.
one of these
It'll probably be
movies.
like later in the summer.
So yeah, I was super like, okay, there better be another movie coming out soon.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah, I'm glad you
Across the
liked it,
Spider
man. Was
Verse,
and a question for
really
you?
fun.
Was it? I know you said you liked Into the Spider Verse. Which one are you thinking is? They're both excellent in my book, but which one would you say is number one for you?
Into the Spider-Verse is number one for me,
Still number one.
but
Okay,
that's depending because Across the Spider-Verse is very much dependent on like how
how they stick the
the
landing.
third one goes, yeah, and how they
100%.
stick the landing
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah, yeah.
So
That's what's up,
a lot of
man.
people are calling it like the best,
Spider-Man.
best comic book movie of all time, but I was just
Yeah.
like, I still need that emotional payoff. There wasn't
Right.
that
Right.
like leap of faith moment that we had in Into the Spider-Verse in
Mm,
the first one.
yeah.
A lot of those paid off, or Hello Danger, those moments
Yes, that's
in the
that's a
first
goated.
one.
That's one of the
Yeah,
greatest scenes in
yeah.
any film for me. I love that
I
movie.
think
Yeah.
that is literally one of the greatest scenes
Perfect.
in a comic book movie. Yeah.
I agree, man.
So yeah.
Glad you liked it, man. I'm glad you liked it. It's an excellent film, man. I'm glad you liked it, bro. And I'm really, yeah, like you said, I'm really excited to see how they stick the landing. And if they do, man, I think it's arguably one of the greatest trilogies of all time, if you ask me, bro. Are you planning on seeing it? And again, guys, we're going to be here for another 10, 15 minutes. So definitely drop your comments, as it says below. Drop your questions about this episode, about this show, about what's next. And then if you guys want to just riff with us about any movies or shows, this weekend now last week I got a chance to see what did I see last week? Elemental, as well
Okay.
as Transformers, and I will say I was pleased with both of them.
Okay.
Elemental to me has been poorly marketed in my eyes. I
Yeah.
think Pixar has been kind of in a
Like
tough
barely
spot.
marketed, I feel like.
Yeah, man, but
There hasn't been too much.
it's not one of the greatest animated. I have Toy Story and The Incredibles and stuff like that up there, but it's a really good movie, man. It's better than the marketing. Really good movie that I recommend you all taking a chance on if you have the opportunity.
Ooh.
And Transformers, I really enjoyed as well, man. Are you a big Transformers fan?
No, not really. No, like I like the first Transformers and I
Yeah,
like the third Transformers. Number two was completely awful in my opinion.
yeah, Revenge of the
Um
Fallen.
and then all of the other stuff actually like kind of makes my head hurt a
Yeah,
bit.
same here, man.
But Dom Fishback in this one, I just want to go support,
Yeah, no, it's
anything
Anthony Ramos and
that grew up.
Fishback
Yeah.
from Swarm. She's definitely on a streak right now. Yeah, it was fun, man. I definitely agree with you. Now I have a soft spot for Dark of the Moon because it took place in Chicago. I like you, I'm from
Mm,
Chicago, so I just love seeing Optimus Prime flying through the streets of Chicago through that battle sequence.
right. Yeah.
But yeah,
With the
four
wingsuits
with
and all of them. Yeah,
so good,
that
bro.
was cool. That's cool.
But yeah, 4 and 5 was trash. Bumblebee was really good, and this one's really good too, man. I did a ranking. It's my third favorite out of the franchise, and it's fun, man. It's '90s all throughout that thing. As far as like the soundtrack, I'm talking Nas, Wu-Tang Clan,
It's set in
uh,
the 90s.
1994. Yeah, yeah.
Oh, okay.
It is.
1994. That's my
If
year.
you, yep, yeah, it's fire. Bro. Did you see Bumblebee by chance? Not to give
I
too much
have
away.
not.
Okay.
And I Haley Steinfeld is
Yeah,
in Bumblebee.
she's in there.
I
Yeah,
love
she's
Haley
yeah.
Steinfeld, so I
This one is
probably need
is
to check that out
definitely a
sometime.
follow-up to that versus like it has nothing to do with the Michael Bay films. It's more of a
Okay.
direct sequel of the sorts to the Haley Steinfeld film. So I
Okay,
have fun
that's
with it,
cool.
man. So I definitely recommend you all if you haven't, go definitely show some support to it. Let's see the questions here. Drake should do a cameo. Yeah, that just complete the acting tour de France
Drake,
from
we just finished up Dave, and
he appeared in it,
Drake
right?
was did a cameo at the
Yeah.
season finale of Dave with a whole slew of other, like Brad Pitt
Yeah,
was in
Brad
it,
what
and
Rachel
yeah,
McAdams was in it too.
Rachel McAdams. Yeah, it was crazy, but Drake's cameo in it was like
Yeah.
super weird and awkward. So,
That's what's
uh,
up, man. Yeah, Drake should pop up. Let's see. L is saying who told the weekend he should write an act to the show. He told himself.
maybe he just did the music. Maybe he just wrote the music for it.
Well, apparently,
And
again, the story is to be told that this was essentially his idea. This whole origin of the show, like he brought
mm,
Sam on board to
oh,
fulfilling
okay.
from the original director. So I think because originally the original director wanted to be from the female perspective through Jocelyn's eyes, but the weekend after she kind of left the project, kind of took over and brought Sam in. So I think that once he
Mm,
got full control of the sense, I mean, hell,
mm,
the shooting we're joking, but this is the weekend's house. They're shooting these episodes,
yeah.
and so like
So
he has a lot to say on this show.
So you're telling me that
It's the
this
weekend,
is
maybe.
possibly a reenactment of things that he's done in his bedroom, and like he said it just like that to girls in his bedroom.
Possibly not. Who
That
knows,
is
man?
sad.
It is, man. If this is, yeah, man.
It's a little
Take
sad.
the notepads out, ladies and gentlemen. If you want some game,
Yeah.
take it from this show. Um, let's see. Does the show stress saying? Does the show give you Madonna vibes? Josh Beck story, Isaac, Black Jesus, all styles, sexy. Yeah, I mean, I'm very familiar with Madonna, but I don't know all the ins and outs of her career. I know that she was very much a pop, obviously a icon in her own right, but I don't know her sexual side of like story. I don't know if she got involved in any cults. I know she was an individual. She was a wild individual. I do know that she had her fame, her time in the light. Are you a big Madonna fan and know much about her origins?
No, not necessarily. No, but like a virgin or whatever.
Yeah.
But um,
Yeah.
now I did bring up the theory that uh, Tedros was going to be a vampire, right? Now, my new theory, and this is actually from my streaming partner on 900 Yards, Blake,
Yeah.
and he says that the Weekend is the devil. The
Oh,
Tedros
like
is
the
the
literal
devil,
devil?
the literal devil, and it's like a
Interesting.
devil went down to Georgia type of situation. He's kind
Mhm.
of like in the his whole situation with the club that's like hell, and it's all like draped in light and
Interesting.
red or whatever,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
he's always calling her like, hey angel and whatever, and she's like a fallen angel. Like there's just like a lot of parallels that he built up, and I was just like,
Yeah, okay.
okay,
I can see
that's
I can
pretty
see the I
interesting.
can see the
Yeah,
direction there, especially
yeah,
yeah, what if these young wannabe stars sell their souls, right?
right,
Isaac and all the other followers have sold their
yeah.
souls to the devil, and they're
And
just
she's in like a
waiting.
fallen angel type of
Interesting.
state, right?
Interesting. Okay.
So
Okay. We'll see, man. I will definitely keep that in the memory bank if that ends up being a reveal. If this series is only 6 episodes, what's the next 9 p.m.? I think True Detective is coming out this summer with Jodie Foster.
that's
Um,
gonna be
that's gonna.
really
I think that's
fun.
gonna be the next big hit for the
Yeah.
summer, leading to the fall season.
We'll be
And
theorizing about that all
yes, I'm
summer.
really excited for that. And there's a couple other ones they've been. If you guys watched last year, I'm a big basketball fan, and particularly the Lakers. Winning Time was a great show that's coming back for season 2. So
I'll check
I think that's
that
going to be
too.
filling up the summer slot for the next few months. Because House of Dragon won't be back for a minute with the writer strike. Q&A. We have who will die at the end of the season. Who you got now? Who's that person that's going to end up dying? You think it's Jocelyn or
It's
Tedros or
probably like
Leia?
probably let me see here.
Shout out to my man Yutaka.
It's probably gonna be Isaac.
Also left.
It's
Yeah, it was
probably gonna
rough.
be Isaac, Moses Sumley, or
Yeah.
Leia. Like make it hurt, you know what I mean? Make
Mm-hmm.
it really hurt. And yeah, if it's Leia, then I'll just be hurting. I'll just be like,
Yeah.
damn, she didn't deserve
She didn't
this,
deserve it. Yeah.
No.
It could be what's homegirls to Chloe, because right now she seems so innocent,
Right.
so kind of silly, like, oh, can I go in the pool?
Mm-hmm.
So maybe Jocelyn will be like almost like a sister to her. Maybe
Yeah.
she'll like be the one that's gonna break the camel's back, but it's gonna be too late for her. So, yeah, we'll see, man. But I right now I have my money on Jocelyn, but I know I could be wrong. We'll see. We'll see.
Mm-hmm.
Q&A. Let's see. L was saying, kind of would like to see a black megastar perspective. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I'm
Wouldn't we
trying.
all?
Yeah. What was the name of that movie with Gugu Marakabach? Never remember her name. It's called like Spotlight or something, where she was a star. It's kind of like almost like a remix of Bodyguard. Can't remember the name of it, but as far as like a TV show goes, wasn't there a show that had a black lead? Kind of. I mean, Swarm is kind of in a
Yeah, I
way the
mean,
fan
Storm
perspective,
is, yeah,
and there
but
was
it's
a
like a
black
lot
star.
better than this show. So
Yeah. But no, I'm
and
totally with
not
you. I would
really.
love to see a black singer or rapper kind of get up in the
Mhm.
Empire. Was it Empire? Wasn't that the whole? I'd never watched Empire, but wasn't that?
I guess Empire can be, like, seen at
Yeah,
that, but it's, like, so, like, network television
yeah,
that you
yeah,
wouldn't
yeah,
be able to,
yeah.
like, delve into all of these, gritty details,
Yeah.
but, yeah, I guess you can
'Cause I thought that
say
was like, yeah, I
Empire
thought
for me.
who was that? Taraji as Cookie or something. I know
Yeah,
everyone was talking about her every single week, and Terrence Howard. So
mhm,
but yeah, I would love to see more of it. To get to Elle's
yeah,
question, I would love to see more of it for sure. Best Spider-Man. I agree. I agree.
yeah, so,
Spider Punk was favorite character from Trilogy. Yeah, Spider Punk was so dope, man.
yeah,
I couldn't agree with you more.
he was dope.
Another question. Unfortunately, none of us will get the back.
Talk
Uh,
back wasted on this show. Yeah, but we're in the chat talking about it, this is what it's
Exactly,
all about, right?
exactly. Bumblebee was good. Are you excited for Barbie movie? I am. I
I
never
kinda
thought
am,
in a
yeah.
million years I would be as excited as I am now, but that's all due to the fact of I'm a big Greta Gerwig fan. She's 2 for 2 in my eyes with Lady Bird and Little Women. Her co-writer
Yeah, those are
slash
really good
husband,
movies.
yeah, Noah Baumbach, Oscar-winning writer, and then I mean, in front of the camera has like all my favorite actors right now. So I'm looking
Mhm,
forward to it, man.
yeah.
I hope it's really, really good.
Oppenheimer and Barbie coming out the same day.
Great
That's gonna
double
be
feature. Great
double
double
feature.
feature.
Chi-town. Ugh.
Chi-Town. Let's get it. See if there's any final questions. Let us know. Let us know in the chat. But this week, man, what you got going on Nine Nerd? What any I know you guys gonna be
So, so we actually started covering, guess what? The Idol on Wednesdays.
nice, nice.
Our show is a lot like more wild than this or whatever, and we always have like clips going, and if the stream gets taken down, the stream gets taken down, and so we talk a lot of shit too, and yeah, we just kind of like have fun with it, and you know, if you want to come around, tune in. I got another video that's up on my Patreon right now. My Patreon's $1, but it should be up on YouTube sometime this week, as long as I can get it, monetized.
Got you, bro. Got you. Yeah, definitely, guys. Nine's information. Always got some great. Him and his crew over there are so much fun. And all his takes on movies or shows is always a great insight, guys. So definitely check him out. Social support there, man. Let me see. Any
Appreciate it.
final stuff here? As far as this week, while I'll find some questions here. Look forward to seeing. I agree. No reason I want to walk out of Barbara on a fake me. I'm gonna see The Flash again for the second time, but this time it's gonna be like the full cut with post credits and a different ending. So that's gonna be tomorrow.
Oh, okay.
Tuesday, I'm a big Wes Anderson fan, so I'm gonna be seeing what is
Astro
it?
World,
Asteroid City. Really looking forward
Asteroid
to
City.
that.
Yeah, I said
And
Astro
then
World.
Thursday is Indiana Jones 5. I've been doing my rewatch of the previous Indies films, and I've been enjoying. I haven't revisited those in a minute. I just watched Temple of Doom today, and man, I forgot how fun that is, man. I'm a big horror fan. I forgot how dark Temple. Are you a big indie fan by chance, Nine?
Indy is Yeah, Indy is fucking awesome, but
Yeah, man.
yeah, it's been a while since I watched all of the movies or whatever, so I've just
Yeah,
kind of been getting like re-up. There's been a lot of like deep dive videos and everything
yeah.
going around YouTube lately, so been catching myself up on that. I really hope that like they add something special to the whole thing.
Yeah,
And
it's just his last outing,
I
man.
my actual like my first Indiana Jones movies was the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, and then people were like, "No, no,
That
this is
ain't it.
trash or
That ain't
whatever,"
it.
and I
Yeah,
was
yeah,
just like, "Okay, well, show me the good stuff." And then I actually did watch all of the
yeah.
other ones, and I was like, "Oh yeah, these are actually very good."
Gotcha, man. Now I've never been just personally, I've never been a big Indiana Jones fan. I always appreciated what it meant to the genre, and like we don't get as many adventure type movies. But I'm more of
Mhm.
a if I were to solo or indie, I always look at Indiana or I looked at Harrison Ford always as Han Solo because that was my
Mhm.
entry point to him was seeing him in Star
Right?
Wars.
Yeah.
But now revisiting him, man, he's great at as Indy, and like I said, Temple of Doom is is fire, man. I had such a really good time rewatching that. Speaking of fire, I saw also this weekend the new Flamin' Hot movie, directed by Eva Longoria.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty good, man. It's pretty
It's
good,
it's
man.
good. Okay,
Yeah,
so what I heard was that the story was fake. Like it's not
it broke my
real.
heart to read that. Yeah, I saw
Is
that
it?
after the
Is it
fact.
real or is it not?
So, and I haven't done a deep dive, but it seemed like there's conflicting things being said that for you guys that don't know what I'm talking about, the Flamin' Hot movie is based on the gentleman that created Flamin' Hots. And then the film is a very touching movie, very inspirational film. I thought Eva Longoria, directed her film for the first time, did a really good job. It's really good performances and it tugs at the heartstring. But yeah, after I got done watching, I'm like, oh, let me look up some stuff. And you find out these articles saying that, nah, he really didn't invent the Flamin' Hot. Now he was a part of like pushing it out there because the whole narrative was like during the time that this was out, it was just, these regular non-flavored, non-spontaneous chips, just bland chips.
Yeah.
He was like, man, my Latino people love spice and flavor. Let me introduce
Right.
y'all to this. And, as the movie shows it, he got the chips, him and his family seasoned it all, distributed it out to the
Mm-hmm.
streets and got people excited for it. But lo and behold, some white woman was the one that actually came up with the actual like making of the chips, and he just kind of came in and like pitched. Again, I haven't
It's
dove
so
too far into
interesting.
the weeds, but it doesn't sound as. It sounds like there was some fluff going on in the film that it wasn't as
Yeah.
authentic as I would have liked that been. But
Have you noticed this like stream of the corporate biopic movie? So
Air, Blackberry, yeah, man, it seems to be a push right
Tetris,
now. Tetris,
yeah,
yeah.
this, and it's just so weird that there's been so many of these. It's like, yeah, capitalism,
Right, yeah, root for the
I'm like,
yeah, man.
right,
It's
like
funny. It is
Jesus.
funny, man. But yeah, like I said, the whole truth of it all kind of bummed me out. But it was actually a good film at the end of the day. But it was just like, damn, man, I was rooting for you. But again, putting the
But it's still
realness,
like a
it's
pretty
still a
good
really
movie,
good movie.
though.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
kind
I'm
of
gonna check it
hallmarky
out.
at points, very
Yeah.
freeformish, very corny and cheesy at times, but
Hmm.
it hits the marks when it needs to be. So it's an hour and a half too. It flew by. I
That's
was
a
really
good
looking into it.
that's a good
But
start right
let's see
there.
here. Your thoughts on the Creature trailer? I haven't seen it fully yet, but I've heard nothing but great things about it.
The
Have you heard of
creator.
the Creator?
I am actually pulling that up now, and I'm seeing that it's got Washington in it.
Yeah, and
Um,
is it Gareth Edwards, the director of
it's got some sci-fi.
Rogue Nation?
I mean,
Rogue
like
Nation
what it
of
looks like is that
Star
like
Wars.
I'm definitely in because like I
Yeah,
love sci-fi, so I'm in.
yeah,
I'll
me
be
too.
there.
Me too. I love it, and it's an original too. So I love a good original sci-fi. So
Yeah.
haven't seen the trailer yet, but I definitely plan. And I probably won't see the trailer because I just want to go in blind and just get
Hmm.
swept into the whole sci-fi of it all. So shout out to young Mr. David Washington. Can we get you to watch Silo? I'll catch up, Silver. I'll
I like
catch up
Silo.
just for you. Just for
I
you.
like
I will
Silo.
eventually
It's
catch
just a
up.
fun, good watch. I'm gonna
Yes,
watch
I
it with
will
my
give
buddy
you
later.
Severance vibes. I don't know about that, Stress. Because based on episode, again, I did watch episode one, and it didn't hook me, But as I'm getting the idol a chance, I'll give because I love Rebecca Ferguson.
Severance is really, really good.
Severance was so good,
Silo
bro.
is not Severance, but it is good. I do
Yeah,
enjoy watching it.
yeah.
Um, and if you
I'll
have a
catch
bunch of
up. I'll
episodes
catch
to
up.
binge, then yeah, I think you
Apple
should
doing
give it a
well.
chance.
Yeah, I agree with that. Was doing well with the crowd. Yeah, I heard that heard it wasn't that great, but I heard that Tom Holland gives a great performance in this
Hmm.
this new series. Black Mirror is this week. Damn, I thought I had a couple more weeks left, but
Black Mirror
that's
is
exciting.
this week. Okay, I'm gonna possibly be streaming about
Um,
that.
yeah, Black Mirror is always good. Let me see. Is there any other questions before we wrap it up, man? It looks good, especially dealing with the AI right now. I think that was it. So yeah, now like I said, man, this week should be fun. With rewatching the Flash and seeing if my pros still hang or if my lows are still low, and see what the secret ending's all about. Looking forward to checking out the new Wes Anderson and then Indy on Thursday. And then coming back next Sunday, man. And guys, my man now, like you said, Wednesday, check out his him and his crew talking about the Idol and other various things that they cover on the channel. And definitely subscribe, man. But bro,
No.
Can't thank you enough for joining me, man. It's always a good time breaking down these episodes and getting your perspective on things because you always got great takes, man. So rounding it out, my man, why don't you close us out with, again, letting people know where they can find you and what's next on 9 Yards.
Yeah, absolutely. As he said, it's 9 Nerd Yards on YouTube. We go over a lot of the same stuff that Elliot does, not as much, but we make a presence, and you can find my video coming out of Atlanta sometime this week. Catch us on Wednesday while we go wild and talk about the Idol. A bunch of clips and shit talking included. And yeah, just check out us on check me out on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, all of that. Go for
Yes,
it. Yep,
sir.
and
Yes,
that's the
sir.
page right there. And there's not, let's see here. We got a lot of interviews with people from Atlanta, and as we will be closing out the series of Atlanta, I'll be calling back to another interview that we do. We like to get a lot of the actors, as many actors as we can, on the channel to just give their experiences on the shows that they're working on the movies that they're working on. Like what you see here, we got the Gina Hecht interview. She was in Dave. Um, we have a Freddie Karugu interview that we just recently did. He was in the newest White Man Can't Jump, and then also in Atlanta. Yeah, so check out the channel. Yeah, we have a lot of fun. And you know, maybe Elliot was going to be coming on and for a video soon for a larger Atlanta breakdown. Someone's saying, what's a nerd yard? And I guess you're gonna have to find out, huh?
Yes, yes, man. Definitely, like I said, guys, had the pleasure of meeting Nine almost a year ago, I want to say, when Atlanta season 3 dropped. Seeing him just doing a great breakdown on the series, and we were able to link up for season 4 for a couple videos on his channel and mine. And here we are, man, almost, like I said, a year later, covering. Man, we went from Atlanta, Succession. Did you join me, Nine, on one of the Last of Us discussions too, I think?
I did do my own The Last of Us. I don't know if
Okay.
we ever got a
If
chance
we
to
ever
link
officially
up
linked
on
up,
that,
yeah.
but I
But
was in the chat
yeah,
for
we
sure
went
on
from
some of your
those
link.
amazing shows to
Yeah,
to
to the
Girl Don't Make
Idol.
Me Act a Fool. But no, man, Nat, I'm always appreciative of your time, man. And as everyone's wrapping up, saying their goodbyes, y'all have a great rest of your Sunday. You guys have a great week. And like I said, we'll be back next week, man, talking about episode 3, which hopefully is a lot
It's
better.
going to be a good
It's
episode.
gonna be a fire,
I
man. One can
guarantee
only
it.
hope. One can only hope. But for myself and Nine, thank y'all for watching. Again, before y'all exit tonight's stream, make sure to hit the like button. Consider sharing the stream. And for those watching the replay, I appreciate y'all just as much. If y'all could do the same, I would greatly appreciate it. And again, we'll catch you on the next one. Peace.